The Attorney General of the United States advocates for censorship in America. This is the Patriots table. So, Ravi, with everything that happened last week, the tragedy last week, I didn't think it could get any worse. And especially from the Trump administration. You know, if there was two things I thought I could completely count on just a Republican administration, not even the Trump administration, a Republican administration, it would be first the Second Amendment and then the First Amendment. And I'm really sad to say we're have the Attorney General Pam Bondi openly wanting to censor hate speech, which newsflash everybody, there's no such thing as hate speech. There's just speech, and if you don't like it, if it sounds hateful, get some thick skin. Like you have the right to say what you want to say, even if you don't like it.
Yeah, yeah, no, true. And I think it's about time we started all of us started believing in Santa Claus too, because might be real. Who knows? You know, but what you just said. If you really dissect it, right? So like what she said very clearly, the whole world could see. I mean, like or hear was trying to censor one's one part of the population, or like whoever that says hateful things against somebody's death or whatever. We had the same situation 4 years ago on the reverse side, and then we were screaming our heads off when they were censoring everybody, including us, when we would go on social media and say anything. I mean, we would get blocked, banned, annihilated, and then censorship was quite alive, and we didn't like it. So now, just because we don't like what we're hearing, we can't just turn around and say, okay, this is different. Now we can go ahead and say it's okay to censorship. Bottom line is, I don't want the government telling me what I can say and what I cannot say. Now, there's a difference because people are kind of like getting confused about private workplaces. That's a different
Mm-hmm.
story. Now, if I'm an employer, I mean, I worked for hospitals and corporate America, Fortune 50 companies. I mean, they have policies uh, about online speech, and those things are not protected because that can harm the company's reputation. So
Right.
free speech has limitations, and one of the things is you cannot cause harm or say something that could lead to harm be coming to someone else. Plus, you cannot cause someone to lose their profitability or whatever. So if a company decides that you cannot go out and say certain things because it's going to make them look bad and people are going to boycott them or whatever, then that's their prerogative. You cannot use your First Amendment right to say whatever you want about whoever is dead while working for like a hospital. I mean, we saw a couple of Cleveland area teachers. I mean, these people are teachers, right? They
Right.
are ones who
Right.
are entrusted with our kids. Well, not my kid because he's homeschooled. Um, to educate these children, but they have this idea that they have their own opinions, which they generally infuse into whatever that they teach, as well as they get on social media and say stuff that is inappropriate for the school systems. So several of them got reprimanded, and I don't know if they were fired or not. I didn't follow through with all that, but you can get fired for that, right? I mean, you can. So that's
Right.
different. But what Pam Bondi said was not that. It was basically saying, we're going to look at certain things and we're going to come after you if you say things that are not to, conforming to certain standards. That's BS. I don't care who said it. And in fact, they are walking it back now because I just said, and I just saw that the Trump administration is now, the AG's office is trying to walk back and do damage control. That's an interesting place we're in right now.
Yeah. And I just want to quote Bondi here on what she said exactly, just so our
Yeah, yeah.
listeners know exactly what she
Let's
said. She said, quote,
go on.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society. We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, end quote. So, like I said at the beginning, there's no such thing as hate speech. There's speech. You can be a hateful person. You know, do I think what happened with a bunch of people after Charlie's brutal assassination, saying the stuff that they were saying, some
Hmm.
very disgusting,
Yeah.
hateful things. It is their right to say whatever the heck they want about it. If they didn't like the guy, if they're happy about it, whatever. Like you said, there's such thing. Most employers make you sign some kind of code of conduct,
Hmm.
especially if you
Yeah.
are involved with anything with the public and stuff like that. And if you violate your company's code of conduct, that's grounds for your employment being terminated. That is not your First Amendment being restricted, because after you are terminated, you can still go on the street corner and scream whatever the heck you want and
Hmm.
keep on saying it. You have that freedom to do so. That doesn't mean you're going to keep your job.
Yeah.
And I even support, like there's been well over 1,000 now, people who have lost their jobs for saying some pretty abhorrent things about Charlie's death, and especially people like you said, school teachers, and even some
Doctors,
doctors,
nurses. Yeah.
government officials, local officials, people, in government. Like that's there comes a point when the position you hold or the office you hold, there is certain things that are not acceptable if you are going to hold that position. So, but again, we're not going to turn this into a you say anything bad. Well, like that's the fact that she said, you know, in our society will target you, go after you. Like that's police state
Hmm.
language.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say something we don't like, we're going to come after you. And it was really alarming to see the amount of Republicans come out and defend this. Because
Right.
I'm telling you right now, we might have a Republican administration now. We might even have a Republican administration the next one. But eventually there's going to be a Democratic administration. And if you advocate for this and are okay with this when it suits your needs now, you better be okay with it when it's something that you don't agree with, because you cannot restrict somebody's. Once you open up this can of worms, all bets are off. Period. Point blank. You can't get around it. Whoever's in you're going to set the tone for whoever's in charge gets to decide what you can and cannot say, and
And I
that's
think,
not going to
I
change.
think, yeah, I think the people. So basically, bottom line is there's free speech that may sound hateful, but oh well, right? I mean
Get
that's
get over it. That's
yeah,
part of.
that's part of having that freedom. I mean, like, if you want to say something and you want to have free speech in this society, you have to deal with the people who are going to hate it, and they're going to say stuff that you're not going to like. I mean, you and I have had our own share of, you know, getting our own little private hate speech, hate mail. I mean, I can probably print out a whole book of stuff that, me called and, all that stuff. But this is fine. I mean, that's what it's all about. So the real problem I have with the people that you just mentioned, I mean, the people who are supporting this right now, okay, maybe they were not around in 2001 when 9/11 occurred and, the government brought out the Patriot Act and everybody was like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, yeah, we'll give up all of our freedoms as long as you can keep us safe. This is what governments do, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
prey on your emotions, and when the emotions run high, they know that you're going to agree to things that you would regret, a year later. The Patriot Act, people started regretting it no sooner than it was law. And it became law pretty fast because, emotions are running high. People are, patriotism is a double-edged sword, in my opinion, because you can go, one way or the other. And we were all very patriot, we had the feelings of patriotism. We were attacked. We need to fight back. And to do that, we gave the government a blank check. We're not doing anything a lot different at this point in time right now. Okay. Because A, we don't know who caused, I mean, 100% we have no, I mean, we can, I mean, we have our hypothesis and we have our, kind of speculation, but no one knows who assassinated Charlie. In that sense, I mean, who knows? It could be the government. I mean, we don't know that. I mean, the CIA is not incapable of doing something like that. So we don't know, and yet we are ready to say, okay, we don't need free speech anymore because
Right.
somebody is saying something hateful about poor Charlie. Okay, that to
And this
me,
is not what he advocated for at all. I mean, he literally built his organization on giving the other side a microphone and
uh
being heard.
oh yeah,
Like, so you want to talk about honoring Charlie's memory and what he stood for? I'm sorry, if you're siding with Bondi on this stuff, like you're pissing on what he stood for.
uh
Yeah, hands down. There's no you can't twist it any other way. So, and to your point, it feels like I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, whoa, is it 2001 again?
I
Like first
know,
we're gonna give up our privacy, and now we're talking about giving up our speech. Like you see, they're going for sections of this,
right?
and it's almost like that old saying, never let a big tragedy go to waste.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah, a
like they're
crisis, yeah, mm-hmm.
yeah, crisis. Thank you, and they're capitalizing on it hardcore and people are going through with it. Like we said last week, what happened with Charlie, we could not let this turn political.
Yeah,
And this is a perfect example of why we cannot let this turn political. Because the moment we have people like Bondi saying stuff like this, politics dictates
mm-hmm.
that the right support her and the left oppose her. So if you're going
Mm-hmm.
to support, if you're on the right, an obvious violation of the Constitution. When you make this an American thing, a bipartisan thing, that this is just wrong and we need to stand for what's right, you can look at Bondi and say, no, we're not doing that. That's wrong. That's not
Yeah,
okay. And, I was even, I thought it, that he might do something good with it and he failed miserably on it. But the fact that Trump defended her was sickening to me.
yeah, yeah,
If he's the man that everybody says he is, to stand up, America first, America values, what America stands for, she should have been fired on the spot.
yeah, or at
Give me
least,
your
yeah,
resignation, you're done. Like the attorney general has no business even suggesting restricting people's right to speech. Period. I don't
yeah,
care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Libertarian or what you are. That should not be coming I mean, really any office, but the Attorney General of the United States. That's a really dangerous office for that to be coming out of. And if Trump wanted to earn back some lost respect that he's lost a lot this year, honestly, especially
oh
over the
yeah,
summer. That was a great opportunity to show the MAGA base that no, that I'm there's a line, and I just again he failed miserably on it. He defended it, and now they're walking it back and trying to act like it. That's not what she meant,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're playing the word salad with it now.
Right. Yeah. That office cannot say something that they mean differently. And like you said, I mean, that's it cannot come from there. I mean, I can take it from a state legislator or whatever, but not from the attorney general's office. Now, the other thing is like this is again like the blame of putting the blame on Charlie Kirk's assassination or murder or whatever you want to call it to the left, right? So they're trying to make it look like somebody in the left did it. And this is where, I think this is one of the reasons why Trump probably went along with it because you have to keep up the narrative, right?
Right.
So to do that, you cannot and forget the MAGA base because I think that base is clearly this incident split that base completely, into two different sections. Like people aren't
Right. Right.
it's either like you are with Trump or you're not questioning. If you, even if you like ask one question about him, you're no longer part of that group, and and then there's all that hate speech and stuff thrown at you. In fact, I just saw someone say like if you're not with Trump on the fact that the left carried out this assassination, then you got something wrong with you, or you're the problem. I'm sorry, but I don't
Okay.
buy anything that has been put out so far to show that that 22-year-old that they have in custody actually carried out this assassination. That I'm sorry, but that you don't need to be a super expert on it. And I think we were just talking a little while ago about those text messages or whatever that they released. I mean, and I actually posted it to my Facebook group asking my 20-year-old friends there to see if anybody texts like that in their 20s anymore to each other. And like most of the answers I'm getting so far is like a big fat no. So obviously there
Right.
is something going on where they're pushing a narrative, they're trying to, create a fall guy, which causes immense amount of speculation and suspicion among people. This is what happens, and governments do this. Like they'll put out confusing information, different information. They'll throw things in there that make it look like it's something, and then it's not. All to confuse people. At some point, we're going to say, like, you know what? I just don't even care anymore. I mean, like, oh, Charlie Kirk is dead. We just move on. I mean, this is the strategy. I
They're
mean, we've done
they're
this.
gaslighting the whole country. Is what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's
And but the point is, it's the fact that part of this, I mean, a fairly large group of the MAGA base is not getting this concerns me because what are they basing their ideas on? Is it basically just plain oh I'm a Christian, so I got to be loyal to Trump and Israel and everything else, and no matter what they do, I'm going to just say that that's fine. Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't vote for a golden calf. I voted for a man to fix things in this country
right.
that he promised to fix and put America first. Make America great again. Drain the swamp, release the Epstein files. I mean, none of that stuff is happening, and now
And that has nothing to do with religion. None of
no,
that has to do with
none of that
religion.
has
So
anything to do with.
people making it about religion, you're
It's
fooling
ridiculous.
yourself, and they're playing you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're playing
They
you
are
left,
playing
right,
you.
and center. And then, you call us, the people who question the narrative, the people with the problem. I'm sorry, but, somebody just asked me today, like, oh, you don't have a smart brain, do you? And they're like, well, my brain's smart enough. I mean, I have a problem with your brain cells because they don't seem to be functioning critically at this point, right?
Right.
So
It's so
it's
it's that you hit the nail on the head. It's a critical thinking issue,
yeah,
and that is again a nonpartisan issue
yeah.
apparently.
It's
There
nonpartisan,
there's
non-religious,
still so many people on the right who are not thinking critically, that are just
right?
like my wife brought back the word, and we haven't used it in a long time since COVID and stuff, but sheep.
Oh
There's
yeah,
just a lot of sheep
yeah.
that are just going through with whatever is being
Mhm.
spoon fed to them, and it is atrocious. I mean, and here's the thing. What they're throwing out about this 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, it doesn't even make sense. It's not even good. Like it's not even good to be confused by it. It's like the screwdriver and he took apart his gun and it was
Oh my
just and
God,
then
yeah.
reassembled it and it was just in the woods and he did all this and all this time. Like are you kidding me? He didn't have enough you have videos of him
Right.
running across the roof and you did they didn't even do it. They're not even doing a good job of this cover up.
Oh,
Like it's so
they never do.
abhorrently bad.
Yeah.
And they're just, like you said, they want to gaslight and confuse the population so much that we don't know up
Yeah.
from down, left from right, and we'll just accept that, okay, let's just, oh, he's convicted. All right, I guess it's done and over with. Let's get things back to normal.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing, here's where people really need to be able to get out of your own perspective and just look at this objectively. This is exactly what they want. They want one side to hate the other side
Uh-huh.
and them
Uh-huh.
to go at it and not look at the puppet masters of
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because what do you see? You see the people on the left getting super defensive because everybody on the right is calling them murderers and complacent in the murder. You got everybody on the right who's all in a frenzy, pissed off at the left because they're hate speech the past few years is what
Uh-huh.
killed Charlie.
Yeah.
And look, the shooter had a trans boyfriend that was transitioning to become a woman. It's a left issue. It's the demented demonic left that
Yeah.
is that is killing us off now, and we better hunker down, get your ammo, buy your guns, and get ready for a civil war against the left. Like really, that's what we're going with now.
Uh-huh.
We're
Yep.
playing into their hands. This is the game, and it hasn't changed.
No.
That's the crazy thing. This game has not changed in over 100 years. They're doing the same thing over and over again, and people don't see it. And they're all hyped up in their emotions about it. It's totally turned into an emotional game. It is no different than watching two children on the playground
Uh,
getting in their feelings about whose turn it was on the swing and getting into a hissy fight over it. That's all this is.
yeah. Yeah. And while all of this was going on, I mean, I don't know how many people know this. So I've, seen this, it was in the news actually. I mean, there were two young black people who were found hanging from trees in Mississippi. They're both found
Yeah.
within 1 hour of each other. So I don't know where this country is going, but I can tell you one thing: running emotions high, and waiting for Jesus to come and solve all our problems is not going to help it. Okay, we have an
Gosh.
issue at hand right now. That is to ask the proper questions and to stay vigilant as to what rights are we losing today, and make sure that those rights are not lost, because you lose any more. I mean, like, people need to understand, like, who is in charge of policymaking in this country. And I think this is a great place to, if you can, I don't know if we have the video or not, but from 2 years ago, there was a guy who actually ran for office who gave a brilliant, summary of who runs the show during COVID. It was about 2 years ago, it's 2023, I believe, uh, at a hearing, Department of Human Health Services hearing in Wisconsin. Uh, take a listen and see if you get the picture as to why we need to start asking the questions and who's running the show.
Sorry, guys, give me just a minute here.
But who's in charge of the CDC that was controlling and telling our government to shut down small businesses and what they recommend for the mandates of the vaccines and Pfizer and all? At the time when COVID was being enacted, I'm going to read off the staff of who's in charge of this CDC. The director of the CDC was Rochelle Walensky, dual citizenship with Israel. She's a Jew. Deputy director of the CDC, Ann Shawalchik, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief of staff, Sherry Berger, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief medical officer, Mitchell Wolf, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC director of the Washington office,
I'm going to ask that
This is
you.
pertinent to the topic. We're talking about COVID, right? Yeah, this is pertinent to COVID. So I love you, Jennifer. Yeah, please. So, director of the CDC of the Washington office, Jeff Rezek, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID SAR, Jeff Zanes, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID senior advisor, Andy Slavitt, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Assistant of Health Secretary for Human Services for our country, the Assistant of Health Secretary, Rachel Levine, transgender, dual citizenship with Israel, yes, Jew.
I ask that you hold off, Christopher.
Ma'am, I'm almost done.
Mr.
Head of Pfizer.
Wood, the chair has ruled that your comments are out of order. She's asked you to stop. The chair has.
You said two. There's nothing wrong with two. It's not derogatory.
Exactly. Okay, but keep on going. Head of Pfizer vaccines, Albert Bourla, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Pfizer chief scientist, Michael Dostin, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Moderna chief scientist, Paul Zaks, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. BlackRock, everyone know BlackRock? BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. I said we're willing to sacrifice our ego, our reputation, and our lives. Yes, ma'am, and I love you, and I appreciate your patience. BlackRock president, Rob Capital, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. The CDC chief medical officer of Johnson & Johnson, Joanne Waldstreicher, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Chief medical officer of Merck, Michael Rosenthal, citizenship with Israel, Jew. Head advisor of the World Economic Forum, Yuval Harari, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. And that's only talking about COVID. That's not talking about who's in charge.
Christopher, you need to stop.
Who's in control of the media or the bank? Go on. God bless. Don't take it to your face.
Did you see they cut his mic off at the end?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. We're just for showing this video.
We're gonna get censored.
You know,
for sure.
we're anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic.
We're
Yes.
anti-Semitic. We can't stand the like. Oh my gosh, you can't question anything. Like
But I mean, do
that's
people realize? I mean, if you listen to that, and this was 2 years ago, okay? The people who run, the policymakers of this country, the people who handle the money, who handle our healthcare, who handle our businesses, who pretty much run the show, are from one place.
Mhm.
And our president, who we elected, now twice, who claimed that he was going to put America first, you can see who's first, right? So somebody just asked me, Dre, like, so what's the point of even like voting? I mean, is there a point to this? Because it doesn't matter who comes into power. The people in positions of power are still sworn to allegiance to a foreign power. I mean, they're dual citizens, right?
The companies, let's just say that even the people who without term limits or the unelected officials and stuff, like everybody, they have this set up perfectly. I will say. I mean, the founding fathers could only do so much, but when you have a president that can be controlled, when you have agencies, CIA, FBI, that can be weaponized against elected officials and the citizen. I mean, it just I would ask you the same question, like what's the point of voting in some cases? I mean, there has to be awareness to this, and there has to be people not afraid to ask questions.
Yep.
And that's what people don't understand is the more people that are aware to the stuff going on, the less power they actually have because it's the less they can get away with. There is more people right now awake to what's really going on in our country, in the Middle East, and that's why a lot of this stuff is starting. You're starting to see chinks in the armor. Stuff starting to crumble, stuff starting to fall apart because there are more people now questioning what's really going on than there has ever been.
Yeah.
And does that give me does that is I don't want to say that that means it's going to I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I don't think it's going to automatically fix anything because you said I mean there's some very 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 rich and powerful people behind closed doors pulling strings.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Everybody and I think I said this on another episode, but I think it was in a lot of ways very naive of America to think the swamp was going to drain the swamp. And that's exactly
Yeah. Yeah.
what we fell for.
Hmm.
That's what I fell for. I will admit I fell for this.
Well,
And
we kind
we
of had an
got
idea,
duped.
right? I mean, we kind of had an idea because what happens here is that people who are, I mean, like, so we just heard this guy, rattle off a long list of powerful positions in this country, policymaking positions that are held by Jewish people who are dual citizens, right? So that they are not totally, they are not sworn their total allegiance to the US. That's a different story. But anyway, the rest of them, if they're not, are bought. So through the funding mechanisms, I mean, APAC and all these other, ways and means of getting money into these people to run for office, those people are also sworn to allegiance to a foreign country. So, like, who is actually working for the American people? Right. I mean, I was asked a question. I mean, I have to, somebody asked me a question today, which I think, deserves an answer. So the question was like, why are we owned? Why do we think we are owned by Israel? What do they have or don't have, you know, and why do they need us? Is it money or power or both? That's an interesting question.
It's a good
It's
question.
a good, very good question. And I think that question
It's the question that every American should
should be
be
asking.
asking right
Yeah,
now. Every single American. I don't care what party you're in.
right. And
Everybody should be asking that
this is
question.
not about hating anybody. It's not about being anti-Semitic. We need to ask the question, if we have so many powerful people from that nation in our country, and we are obviously like supporting them, not only financially, but in other ways as well, militarily, financially, technology wise, whatever. Why? Like, what is in? I mean, like, everybody is tuned into WIIFM, right? I mean, like, it's the channel that everybody tunes into. What's in it for me? What's in it for the US and what's in it for Israel to have this alliance? Because they don't have the same alliance with other people.
Right.
Who in the MAGA movement has asked this question? I mean, is it on the minds of everybody? I mean, are they asking why?
I'll give credit to Tucker. He asked Ted
Oh,
Cruz
of
this, and
course.
Ted, and Ted. I don't know if everybody remembers Ted Cruz's response. It was a joke. They provide us intelligence in the
Uh-huh.
Middle East. Intelligence. We're spending billions, billions and billions and billions. Not just sending billions, but in contracts and weapons
Yeah,
and munitions, everything. Billions. More than any other country that we provide aid to or do business with or anything, it goes to Israel for some intelligence. Like I don't buy that we couldn't for a lot cheaper
yeah,
have our own intelligence agencies gather intel over there. Like really, we don't have enough bases over there that we could work out of. I mean, I don't. That was a horrid answer
yeah. Well, the irony
to
of
that.
it
So
is, I
we
mean, right, we do have a base in Qatar, and Israel just bombed them too. So it's this is a circular argument, right, for the U.S. I mean, if you think about it, why do we need intelligence from the Middle East? I mean, that's the other question that we should ask, right? So that's because we
To
have been,
protect Israel, so
yeah,
they,
it's a circular
so
argument. So like they
they,
want us to bomb the people who are a threat to them so that they hate us. And now we want intelligence from Israel to protect ourselves from the people that we bombed for Israel. I mean, come on. I mean, this is what is going on. People don't understand this because they don't see it, or it's not reported on CNN or whatever. But if you really look at what's going on, and I think if anybody is just tuning into this podcast, you should go back. Like I think it was like maybe 2 episodes ago, or the last, yeah, 2 episodes ago, we had Ali Hamideh on the show, and I think he explained it really well why we are bombing all these countries in the Middle East. I mean, these are the existential threats to Israel. So we bomb them for Israel. We give them money to make weapons, and then we use our own bombs and we give them bombs to bomb other people. I mean, this is like a total cluster, for lack
oh,
of a better
absolutely.
word, right? I mean, that's what it is. And this is now it's the proverbial tiger by the tail. You do this once. I mean, like if you keep bombing enough people, you're going to find enough haters. That's a given, right? I mean, you keep bombing people, killing their, children watch their parents die in front of their own eyes. I mean, like that's creating a terrorist right there, right? I mean, it's anger.
You're creating Hamas more. You're
You
creating
are
Hamas.
not just
You're
Hamas. It's definitely
creating. I mean, to put it in a nutshell, and let me explain this perfectly to anybody listening that is confused about what we're talking about with the critical thinking part. This is the tactic. This is the main tactic that our government will use. They will take something just super simple, like, well, a perfect example, we'll use Bondi, for example, on her wanting to restrict speech because of the left saying mean things about Charlie. The moment you get backlash, they complicate it. Oh, well, this is what she meant for this reason because this 50 years ago was said this in this court case and the Supreme Court this and this person said this and this is why that. They make it so confusing and try and get you and make it so confusing to where you feel like you can't think for yourself. So you have to listen to the experts. You have to listen to that news person who got a degree and a political degree to be able to understand this to then feed our low, stupid intelligence, and we'll just go with that. But the truth is, all this stuff is very simple. What we just talked about, what Israel is doing or having America do for Israel, it's that simple. Pam Bondi wanting to restrict the First Amendment, it's that simple. We do not have to overcomplicate this. And nobody from Fox News, CNN, or anybody else that tries to overcomplicate this to spoon feed you crap, you don't believe it.
yeah.
This is where critical thinking comes into play. You don't just listen to what other people say. Look at the situation and judge it for yourself.
Right. That's
Sorry,
exactly.
had to get a little rant there. That's
No, but this is the ongoing problem we have here because people forget, the past or even the very recent past. I mean, they forget it. I mean, like they forget what happened. They forget like what was done. We had like plenty. I mean, 9/11 and COVID should have made everybody in America think the same way. Okay, we don't trust what the
absolutely.
government says. There's always some real story behind everything that they tell us. I mean, there's always a narrative. I mean, like even the, post 9/11, all the weapons of mass destruction. I mean, those were all fabricated stories. All they wanted to do at the end of the day, which we now know, is that they wanted to bomb Iraq off the face of the earth because Iraq was a threat to Israel. I mean, why do you think they went and just bombed Iran? I mean, that's the last standing threat to the people of Israel. Right? I mean, Iran with their nuclear, I mean, like they don't have a nuclear weapon, but and Israel do. I mean, they have weapons which are, I think, potentially illegal, not authorized by the treaty or anything. but they're a threat. So now what they want us to do is to go get rid of them for, like they did the 7 other countries. So this is what's going on. I mean, this is why they need us. And of course, I'm sure the US, I mean, like they have some smart people there. I mean, they develop lots of technology, mostly military technology. I mean, like the whole Iron Dome, technology and stuff like that. We are using some of that here. And this is probably what's going to someday, find you all these DU weapons that they're talking about, the direct energy weapons. The technology comes from there. So yeah, I mean, they're giving us that stuff back, but they're taking 100 times more from us. And they're holding the country, the people who run the country, and everybody in it hostage, literally. I mean, like, that's what it is. I mean, we are pretty much slaves. Whatever that they say, they say jump, we jump. We just ask how high. And I thought, I mean, foolishly, of course, I mean, I thought that, voting for Trump, we would change that because he was an outsider. Little did we know that they had enough evidence, enough things to blackmail him with as well. So as soon as he comes into office, what does he do? He changes his tune. I mean, now everything is Israel, Israel. I mean, we have right now 250 legislators who are kissing the wall in Israel when there's people hanging off of trees and people getting assassinated in this country with a crumbling infrastructure. And so how did they get over there? I mean, like, did they send a private plane? Was there like a
Probably me and you paid for it. Like, and if Israel paid for it, it was from the billions we gave them, so me and you
That's
still paid
right.
for it.
Yep.
The American people still paid for it. We are funding, and it's so crazy to think about. And this is kind of off track, but it's just a random thought. How did we go from um World War II, America, big bad America, to the most powerful country in the world being ran and dictated by this tiny country in the Middle East that is threatened on all sides? Like, how did we get from we're Big Brother protecting Israel to Israel owns everybody? Like,
Well,
that's such a big leap in 70 years.
yeah, yeah. They did it slowly, and I think they used religion as part of it. Okay, so they convinced. I mean, this is a quote unquote a Christian nation, right? So they convinced the people who run this place that they were the chosen ones. Now, I don't know about that, but I mean, like, I'm not
That goes
saying that.
against Christianity, guys. I'm sorry. Like as
It's
the
okay. I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't know. Maybe they are. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying that they're not or whatever, but we have to question what they're doing, though, right? I mean, in behind the scenes, like using that as a cover, what are they doing? I mean, are they trying to take the whole world over and like, create one big, I mean, obviously they're trying to wipe out the Palestinians, through a genocidal, war that's going on right now to reclaim, I mean, like take that area over. So they obviously want to expand their presence in the Middle East. And now they have actually decimated 5 of their 7 neighbors. So they can easily now walk in there, like Ali mentioned during the show a couple of episodes ago. They can walk anytime, and they know for a fact that no one's going to fight them because the one country that can fight them is you know at their feet, licking their boots.
right.
This is the problem.
And
This is
I
what
think
people
you
need
are
to
so
understand.
right. You are so right about using religion because here's the crazy thing. And this just happened 12 hours ago. I don't know if you saw it. Pope Leo, the Pope, came out 12 hours ago on his X account and tweeted something really crazy. And this is, I want people to really understand. This is how we are segregated from Christianity in this country from the rest of Christianity in the world, mainly Europe. So Pope Leo said, I express my profound closeness to the Palestinian people in Gaza who continue to live in fear and to survive in unacceptable conditions, forced once again from their own lands before Almighty God, who commanded, Thou shalt not kill. And throughout human history, every person always has an inviolable dignity to be respected and upheld. I renew my appeal for a ceasefire to release of hostages and negotiated diplomatic solution in full respect of international humanitarian law. I invite everyone to join my heartfelt prayer that a dawn of peace and justice may soon arise. So you have, and Catholicism is still the largest branch of Christianity in the world today. So you and there's a lot of Catholics in America. You have essentially the Pope of the Catholic faith saying this is not okay. But in America, if you're a Christian,
Uh-huh.
you automatically have to align with Israel. Pope Leo here didn't trash Judaism or Jews or even Israel. He just said the Palestinians are like in a horrible place right now. This needs to stop. If
Yeah.
you said that in America,
No, you're
you get
anti-Semitic.
ridiculed. You're
Yeah.
not. You're anti-Semitic. You can't question Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so that just shows you how we are conditioned. They've literally duped
Yeah.
the entire religious population that somehow Jews and Israel are the same thing. Like
Yeah.
that they're not the same thing. You have a secular government
Uh-huh.
and then you have Jewish people. That's correct. That's like saying black people are, Africa. Like you have
Yeah.
governments. Like
Right.
it's not just black people. Like it sounds that Asians. There's so many different countries in Asia. Like Jews, you have Israel. It's they don't go hand in hand like that.
Right.
And I find it very, very interesting that you have all of Europe or most of Europe, more and more of Europe as time goes on, speaking out against this. And they keep that on the down low and they don't want Americans hearing about it.
Right. Right. Well, I mean,
Like,
the other thing is, people equate Jews, I mean, the people who practice Judaism, right, with the same as being like Zionists. There is a distinct difference between the two.
oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
so the one practices the religion of Judaism, and they're, for the most part, not against. I mean, they are the people who are actually now speaking up against the government of Israel for what's going on. And the Zionists basically, want to establish this, the Jewish state, and want this, consider themselves these chosen people or whatever. So there's a difference there, right? I mean, so you don't have to put all of them into one basket. I mean, that's not what we're trying to do or anybody else is trying to do for that matter. In fact, I read 2 articles today, and I think we posted it to our Facebook page, the links if you want to read those. The people of Israel were not very friendly towards Charlie Kirk either.
Oh, no. The Times of Israel. I'll, let's just read these two headlines. I think people will find this interesting. So, September 11th, headline Kirk's murder can't erase his anti Semitism. This is after Netanyahu came out and was like, he's the greatest defender
Friend,
of
yeah,
Israel. Like he's our friend. He's a shining knight for Israel in America. And then Next one, we have September 13th. The wrong kind of friend, rethinking Charlie Kirk's support for Israel. The wrong kind of
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
So we got to get a little bit more on with Bibi, right? We got to. He was a friend, but he's the wrong kind of friend. We didn't really like him.
Yeah.
But you have, and this is where again the confusion. You can see where the government tries to confuse everybody. You have people like Tucker, Candace, people really close to Charlie and his friends going, oh, he was starting to get critical of Israel, right? And then you have the Republican Party as a whole totally trashing that. You got people like Ted Cruz
Yeah.
and Trump and all these people and even Netanyahu to America, he was a great friend. Don't listen to them. They're lying. They're lying. He was an advocate for
Yeah.
Israel and a defender of Israel. But at the same time, over in Israel, they're trashing him and saying the very same thing that like Tucker and Candace, Megyn Kelly, and these people were saying that he was doing or that he was changing his mind. So they just get it so confused, people so confused that they don't know which way is up. And, well, I've been a Republican my whole life. I really don't like transgenderism, and I really don't like just liberals in general, so I'm going to stick with the Republicans regardless what they're spewing.
Yeah.
And that's what they do at the end of the day. So, sorry,
Which
the
is
very
wrong.
people, it is very wrong. The
Yeah.
very people that you're saying you support, the government that you're saying you support over in Israel is saying that Charlie Kirk was not their friend, that he was an anti-Semite. Tucker had an incredible episode where he brought some stuff to light, and his episode was on September 16th. Charlie Kirk was losing millions of dollars in
Yeah.
support for just wanting to have Tucker on. Just to give Tucker
Yeah.
a platform to speak with Turning Point USA, he lost a $2 million deal. $2 million in donation because they're like, nope, you're going to have him on. We're pulling $2 million. He turned down $150 million from Netanyahu. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't putting up with it, guys. And you're all being duped thinking that he was this white knight for Israel. He was questioning
Oh,
stuff.
he was. Definitely was.
And I will say this, it was kind of sickening to see the entire cast of the Daily Wire sitting at Charlie Kirk's desk on the Charlie Kirk show. Like Ben didn't like Charlie, like he said. Like if he was starting to change his mind and questioning Israel, we know how Ben feels about that. He fired Candace over it.
Yeah.
You don't question Israel. You'll get blackballed from the Daily Wire. You do that. So yet again, you have Ben Shapiro, who's the golden boy for Israel in the U.S. He sings their praise no matter what they do. He's saying Charlie was this advocate thing for Israel, yet back at home, they're crucifying Charlie. Doesn't make sense. And it
No.
was in really poor taste that they're going to sit at Charlie's desk and act like they were besties and all. And it was damage control, is what that was, in my
Right.
opinion. That looked like damage control again.
So what you need to understand also is that, if you can be a good Christian and question what the Zionists are doing. I mean, that's what Charlie was doing. And
Absolutely.
that's what got him the label anti-Semite, right? That's not being anti-Semitic. I mean, you are questioning some actions of a group of people who are carrying out a genocide. What is not to question about it? You don't just blame Hamas and refugees and, whatever, kidnap people and all these other stuff, hostages. I mean, it's none of that matters. Okay, when you look at the bigger picture, and you can question that. And Charlie was questioning it. I mean, I watched some of his videos. I mean, I watched his interview with Ben Shapiro. I mean, I saw the look on Ben Shapiro's eyes. when he questioned, Israel, and he couldn't believe what he was hearing. But that's the kind of guy. I mean, that's one of the qualities I liked about Charlie Kirk, because he was convinced in his faith, but at the same time, he was also not dumb enough to just follow along just because he had to. I mean, if he had to question something, he would stop and question it. And I don't understand why.
That's critical thinking, guys.
That's absolute.
Charlie Kirk is a perfect example,
Yep.
and he was very religious. He was very religious in his beliefs, and you can have critical thinking skills and be like that. You don't have to go along with
I
everything
mean,
just because you're told.
unfortunately, you might end up like him, but that's unfortunate. It's sad, but this is what the world has come to. I mean, like, if you don't like what somebody is saying, and he had this large following of the young population, where I think Israel is most focused on getting support from, because they are starting to realize that our generations they're losing support daily, because even people, no matter how non-critical thinking they are, I mean, like, it's impossible to not realize what is going on at this point. I mean, you have to be clearly a sociopath or a psychopath, for that matter, to ignore what's going on and not question it. So that went against him. And this is the reason why Netanyahu was the first person to foreign leader talk about Charlie Kirk's death.
Right.
Nobody thought that was funny, right? And they're telling us that we are funny because we don't believe the open narrative out there that this 22-year-old guy who text messaged like a 60-year-old to his roommate. I think we
I-
I think we should end this with a laugh.
oh my gosh, yeah. So I don't know if anybody's read all these. We don't have to read them all to get this point across, but like we were joking before the show when we were reading this, and I told Ravi this sounded like 1800 smut to me. Like, it's such a joke. So first one here, guys, is from Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin. First 6 words: I am still okay, my love. Oh my goodness. Like, this is 50 Shades of Grey if it was written in the 1800s, guys. I am still okay, my love. And if there's anybody under the age of 40 listening to this knows nobody's talking like that. And there's not a 22-year-old that's talking like this and
Text
actually
like that. I mean,
meaning it.
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
text message.
that text message. Yeah. So, okay, I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. That's his first text message. Now, there's a couple points I want to make here. Aside from the obvious, obvious language that just doesn't sound like a 22-year-old texting, this has perfect punctuation. Okay?
Yeah.
There is commas where there should be commas. There are periods where there should be periods. I am going to be 30 in 10 days. I am still somebody when I'm just texting, and this is somebody texting in the heat. I just killed one of
Yeah.
the biggest figures
Right.
in the US on the right, and I'm going to take the time to make sure my punctuation is perfect while texting my boyfriend. Are you kidding me? I don't even do that. If I'm in a rush at work, I'll text a paragraph to my wife and there won't be a single bit of punctuation in
Right.
the entire thing. So there's a couple points there for that. Roommate replied, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, "I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. This is bad. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to and oh my gosh, it's so bad. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Okay. His little comment, I will have left no evidence. This leads to another point of this pointing to a cover up. Where is the damn bullet?
Uh-huh.
Where's the bullet? Can't ask that. Like where somebody was brutally assassinated in front of the entire country. We have the FBI, everybody all over this. Where's the bullet? The one thing that could match ballistics to this so-called rifle that we found, and the only thing that could prove that it wasn't the rifle also. Can't find the bullet. How would he know that there'd be no evidence?
Right. Yep.
Just, and I know we're at the top of the hour here, and we're out of time, but I just again want to encourage people, take a step back, get out of the politics of this, and just look at this from a bipartisan perspective and see that they are trying to dupe the entire country with this. Do not fall for it. Question everything.
Think critically. It
Question
doesn't
us.
cost you anything, right?
Yeah, question what we're telling you. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Go look everything up. There's fact check us. My wife fact checks me. Everybody, like, it's not an insult. It's what you should do. So I don't know if you have any closing thoughts, Ravi.
No, I mean, I think you covered it. We kind of covered it. I mean, look at everything from unbiased perspective. There is nothing that you need to cling on to. Stuff happens, and when it happens, you ask the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you'll never get the right answers. That's the bottom line.
Perfectly said. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Have a good night, guys.